European countries, and to this day, most species are still under threat. Given their critical role in the ecosystem, an urgent vulture rescue mission is needed. European rewilding teams have risen to the challenge and are going to drastic lengths to protect the winged scavengers. But to save the vulture, the foundations of their ecosystem must be rewilded. By bringing species back from the brink, rewilding can create a natural food source for predators, who in turn provide a feast for hungry vultures. One of the front lines in the race to save Europe's vultures is Bulgaria's Rhodope Mountains. Situated in the south of the country, the Rhodope mountain range extends into Greece, creating a thriving crossroads in the Balkan Peninsula. The region already supports a range of wildlife. But there's room for improvement. Low herbivore numbers have had a negative impact on many parts of the ecosystem, including on one of the Rhodope's most charming inhabitants. They may look similar to the meerkats of the African savanna, but these industrious creatures are a type of ground-dwelling squirrel, like the prairie dogs of North America. Just 20 centimeters tall, suselics are perfectly adapted to life in short grasses. Which provide the tiny mammals with cover from predators. With impressive bipedal skills, they're just able to see above the short vegetation. While the sun is up, suselics stick to what they do best: eating. The hungry animals stuff as much food into their cheek pouches as physically possible. Then eat their dinner in the safety of their underground tunnels. This transports plant matter into the soil, which acts like a natural fertilizer for the grassland above. And their tunnels help water to reach the soil, keeping their grassy home lush and green. They may be small, but suselics have a big impact on their surroundings. However, without the help of large herbivores, their habitats have become overgrown, and suselic numbers are crashing. Above the tiny grazers, a pair of nature's cleanup crew patrol the Rhodope skies on the lookout for carcasses. Both the griffon and Egyptian vulture eke out a living here in Bulgaria. But one vulture is missing. And its presence can aid the survival of all scavenging species. In the Bulgarian Rhodope Mountains, warm thermals allow the Egyptian and griffin vultures to soar to great heights while they search for food. However, their fellow scavenger, the black vulture, is nowhere to be seen. As the largest of the vultures, black vultures were once a common sight here in Bulgaria. Yet by the 1980s, this giant of the scavenging family was locally extinct. Fortunately, it's not the end of the black vulture in Bulgaria. The huge bird still makes scavenging sorties into the country from nearby breeding colonies. In Greece's Dardia-Lefkimi-Solfi National Park, a small population exists just a few kilometers away from the Bulgarian Rhodopes. But with just over 30 breeding pairs in Dardia, the species' very existence in the Balkans is precarious. Equipped with a huge and powerful beak, they breach carcasses that other vultures struggle to penetrate, opening them for all to feed. So saving the black vulture will have benefits throughout the food chain. And thankfully, there are still reasons to be hopeful. Another vulture species has recently made a remarkable comeback from near extinction in the Bulgarian Rhodopes. At the end of the 1960s, the once ubiquitous griffin vulture was considered extinct in Bulgaria. But 8 years later, a tiny colony of griffin vultures was discovered deep in the Rhodope Mountains. Now, thanks to 3 decades of dogged conservation, there are 94 breeding pairs here. And their numbers are still increasing. But with the vultures taking 5 to 6 years to reach breeding maturity, there is no room for complacency. Griffin vultures need the help of dedicated conservationists to protect them from dangers like power lines and poisoning hotspots. Volen Arkumerev from the Bulgarian Society for the Protection of Birds aims to GPS tag a chick before it fledges to fully understand the challenges a griffin vulture faces in the wild. The huge scavenging birds nest on near vertical cliff faces. So this is no easy task. Jagged rocks make every meter of the descent a hazard in waiting.
There is a crack on the cliff. We have to be extremely careful.
The perilous climb is just half the battle.
See, the chick is standing at the edge, and now we are going to approach the chick. We have to be very careful. There is always the possibility that the chick might jump from the nest.
As the young vulture has not yet fledged, there is no guarantee it can fly. If the chick falls from this height, it would cause serious injury or even death.
Fighting a lot. It's a big boy. Calm down. Calm down. Okay, let's move it.
But they quickly have the situation in hand. The team carefully lift the chick, avoiding the many sharp rocks along the way. Now on solid ground, the real work can begin.
15.7 millimeters.
We are going to track the bird with a GPS transmitter, so we can gather all the information through the whole life cycle of the bird with just this small device.
With the tracker fitted, the chick is ready to be returned to his cliffside home.
I got it. Okay, buddy, it's time to let you free. Be careful with the power lines, windmills, poisons, and everything that might threaten your life.
The bird's data will provide a unique insight into a griffon vulture's life, if he survives. In the hills and valleys of Bulgaria, livestock in their millions used to graze the land. It was a living smorgasbord for native predators, who in turn provided a plentiful food supply for vultures. But in the 1990s, the Communist Party in Bulgaria collapsed. Along with the departing party, the agricultural economy crumbled. As much of the younger generation are seeking a more urban lifestyle, once thriving farms and villages have become empty shells. Without animals to graze back the foliage, habitats morph into one overgrown scrubland. Plants and animals that need open spaces to thrive are squeezed out. But this situation offers a unique opportunity for rewilding, giving nature the means to restore its ecosystems. Conservationists from Rewilding Europe released over 350 fallow and red deer into the wilds of the Rhodopes. With an insatiable appetite for all things green, they are natural woodland keepers, eagerly pruning back the dense undergrowth. And they're not the only ones. Conic horses are also reclaiming this mountainous region. In 2016, Rewilding Europe teams introduced one small herd into the wilds of the Rhodopes. Now, bolstered by other releases, over 70 conics roam the Bulgarian mountains. They are the closest living ancestors of the now extinct tarpan horse, which once thrived in the Rhodopes. Like their ancestors, the conics are free roaming, grazing on grass and scrub that has overwhelmed the area. Grey hair acts as a decent camouflage against the rocky landscapes. And if needs be, the powerful horses can put up a good defense against predators. One stallion rules over a harem of females, their foals, and a few would-be usurpers. By curling his lip, the powerful male catches the scent of his females. This peculiar technique allows him to assess which females are ready to mate. While the stallion remains in power, only he gains breeding rights, ensuring his bloodline and the species thrive in the region. Both of these newly introduced herbivores are providing a welcome food source for the region's predators.
Bringing back herbivores creates prey for the large predators that are already here, like the wolf, or are coming here, like the brown bear and the lynx. You provide the big predators with prey, and as a result of that, you will have carcasses everywhere in the area, which are the most important source for the vultures in the area.
But until Bulgaria's herbivore population is fully restored, the scavengers are still in need of a helping hand. It may look like a scene from a horror movie, but for scavengers, this mix of decomposing carcasses is a tasty lifeline. Vulture restaurants like this have been set up across the Rhodopes to supplement the lack of wild carcasses and boost vulture numbers. The airborne scavengers can spot a carcass from kilometers away.
Vultures always have visual contact with the next group. If any of these groups or individuals find a carcass, it starts circling in the sky. They help each other to find food and survive.
The first scavenger to the station is one of the rarest species of birds in Europe. The Egyptian vulture.
Its boar is arriving. It's one of the tagged birds with a transmitter. I can see the antenna. Yeah, and there is another one. This might be Jenny. Oh, they're fighting. They're fighting. Jenny is protecting her territory.
And it's not long until more keen eyes from above spot the activity. Within minutes, dozens of griffon vultures arrive at the feeding station. And with a feast of carcasses on offer, tensions soon arise.
Sometimes they're alerted, they're nervous. And they're like pushing each other towards the food, and they're like, you go first, no, you go first, no, you go first.
Now that they've settled old scores, it's time to get down to work.
To see them alive and feeding on the feeding station is really a nice feeling. We should not allow the extinction of vultures to happen in Europe.
For the time being, these feeding stations are essential for vulture populations to continue to grow and to lure back the elusive black vulture, whose fate lies in the hands of rewilding teams.
The wild horse, red deer, roe deer, fallow deer.
Open areas are prime real estate for reptiles, who use them to raise their body temperature and to lay eggs. And when the sun goes down, one of Bulgaria's deadliest species emerges fully charged from the day's energy-boosting rays. The horned-nosed viper. Living up to its name, its most distinguishing feature is its prominent snout. Growing up to a meter in length, it is one of Europe's most venomous creatures and its deadliest snake. Wandering into the viper's domain is a fateful mistake. Equipped with enough venom to take down a human, a stray rodent stands little chance. Reptiles may be thriving in the Rhodopes, but in the skies, the king of scavengers remains dangerously exposed. Restricted to just a couple of breeding sites within Greece's Dardia National Park, the entire black vulture population in the Balkans is extremely vulnerable. With temperatures capable of exceeding 40 degrees Celsius in the summer, forest fires are a very real threat for the tree-nesting black vultures. In 2018, the second deadliest wildfire in the 21st century swept across parts of Greece, leaving a wake of destruction. To protect one of Europe's largest birds, conservation teams need to establish a black vulture breeding colony on the Bulgarian side of the mountains. To do that, the Life Vulture team have set a trap in Dardia National Park, and they're about to find out what they've caught.
This morning I got a call from Petro saying like, "Be quick, I closed the trap, the birds are in." So now we're really rushing to get there on time so to make sure that the birds are safe and get them out of the cage.
Amongst the trapped group are 7 black vultures. The team hope the birds can provide them with vital clues to help them establish a new breeding colony. They must act fast to limit the birds' stress levels. Handling the 10-kilogram black vultures is not for the faint-hearted. Once the 2 species are separated, the griffon vultures are released. The black vultures will be given a full health check before each bird is tagged and fitted with a GPS tracker.
The GPS transmitters are really helping us know the areas the birds prefer for roosting, for foraging. What we hope to get out of this project is to know the areas they prefer and where they might nest.
Up close, their impressive build is plain to see. A black vulture's beak is huge and hooked, so it can breach tough carcasses. Giant wings are designed to ride thermal winds to breathtaking heights, as is their blood, which allows oxygen to be absorbed at altitudes of nearly 6,000 meters. Swabs taken from Dardia's black vultures have already revealed some fascinating findings.
They're very important because there is a study already published which says that the Balkan population is different from the Spanish population or the Asian population.
With Dardia's black vultures being in their own distinct genetic group, it is imperative they expand their colonies throughout the Balkans. But before they do, a widespread and deadly threat needs to be eliminated. Throughout Europe, one species is making a remarkable comeback. Grey wolves. Once persecuted to the point of extinction, there are now more wolves in Europe than the entire United States. This dramatic revival is reigniting an age-old battle between predator and prey. Now a whole new generation of wolves is helping restore Europe's wild heart. The reintroduction of deer in the Rhodopes is aiding the comeback of the grey wolf in Bulgaria. Weak and vulnerable deer are picked off by wolves, which leaves behind healthy individuals, keeping the herd genetically strong. Vultures, too, reap the rewards of the predator's success. Some 60% of the scavengers' meals in the Rhodopes are provided by wolf kills. However, the return of the wolf is not welcomed by everyone. When food is scarce, wolves will go for the easiest option, scavenging on other predators' kills, or taking farm animals like sheep or cows. Some farmers retaliate against wolves by leaving poisoned carcasses for them. Although this poison baiting is illegal, it's extremely widespread and highly effective. As scavengers, vultures are caught in the crossfire. Often feeding in large groups, a single poisoned carcass has the potential to wipe out an entire colony. In the last 2 decades, over 2,000 vultures have died from illegal poisoning in the Balkans alone. To help protect nature's cleanup crew, rewilding teams have turned to man's best friend. German Shepherd Bars and his handler Nikolai are Bulgaria's first ever poison patrol. Today they're on a training exercise. Bars is taught to track down poison carcasses anywhere in the expansive and often dense terrain of the mountains. It's unrelenting work. A bark signals that something has been detected. This small marten is typical of the poison baits used to kill wolves.
We always trust bar's nose. If the marten is poisoned, that means that other animals here could be poisoned too.
The goal of this patrol is to establish poison-free zones by finding and removing the baits before they can cause damage.
Whoa. Whoa.
Bars's reward for a hard day's work is simple. Playtime with his favorite toy. This team helps save animals across the region. But greater effort is needed, or the black vulture could be gone forever. In Europe's easternmost reaches, rewilding is paving the way for a wildlife revival. A reintroduction of grazers is transforming the Bulgarian Rhodopes. And these hungry animals are not just reshaping the habitat by eating vegetation. They themselves provide food for predators and scavengers. Further work to understand the movements of Bulgaria's vultures, combined with a new poison patrol, is giving a new lease of life to both the griffon and Egyptian vultures. But the ultimate goal is to aid the recovery of vulnerable species like the black vulture, so they can play their role in the ecosystem once more.
The black vulture has a specific issue that it's only breeding in one location, on the Greek side, in a forest, the Dadia forest. And these are, like human beings, pretty conservative animals. If it's good, they stay there. But it also makes them vulnerable for if something happened in that area. Imagine a big wildfire, then the whole population could be extinct in one disaster. So what we are doing is trying to lure them to other spots, to spread the risk actually. So what we try to achieve with the black vulture is to increase the numbers on the Greek side and at the same time improve breeding conditions on the Bulgarian side.
Using data from the black vultures tagged in Dadia National Park, the team locates the exact areas the vultures roost in during their visits to the Bulgarian Rhodopes. With the perfect nesting sites identified, Dobromir Dobrev gets to work on the ultimate black vulture welcome package. A treetop nest. To accommodate Europe's largest vulture, the nest must have a diameter of 1.5 meters. With construction taking place on trees that reach a lofty 15 meters, securing a home for the black vulture is no mean feat.
It's a matter of death and life sometimes. You would take the risk because otherwise you would not reach the results, and it's really worth risking for the black vultures.
So far, 15 nests have been constructed in Bulgaria, with another 5 in the pipeline. Now that everything is in place, it is down to Europe's greatest winged scavenger to recolonize its ancestral breeding ground. Step by step, rewilding teams are helping reforge links in the eastern Rhodopes food chain. With each natural process being restored, a wild harmony is returning to the rugged landscape. As for nature's cleanup crew, the vulture rescue mission has seen the Egyptian population become stable, and the griffon rise from a single recorded breeding pair to 120 in the wilds of Bulgaria.